the white guy called for 50 Cent. So I said, who's the white guy? I'm digging this Jimmy Iovine.
Mm-hmm.
He said, no, Eminem called directly for 50. And he said,
that's his guy.
He said, I can't do it if I can't bring 50 up.
But that's his guy.
It looks like 50 Cent is officially done playing nice with Rick Ross, because this time he didn't just respond.
The big homie wanted to look like a gay painter.
What are we talking about here?
We're talking about Basquiat. He wants to look like a gay painter.
He read him clean from top to bottom. This wasn't a quick jab or a petty Instagram comment either. This was calculated, personal.
She jumped down. She was like on a windowsill.
Right.
We was in Vegas. She said, come on, I'm talking to her. She jumped down. She was like, duh, duh, duh. And I'm like, wait, what is you doing? That stuff, that's me and Jay-Z stuff. This ain't got nothing to do with you, bro. Don't come
so
on.
Hov wasn't there?
I'm talking to Jay.
You're talking to Jay.
As soon as I talked to Jay, she jumped down, came over. I said, oh shit, look at this.
So what did B say, or she was just staring at you?
Nah, she came like she was ready.
Like
I thought something was gonna happen. I just looked at Jay. He was looking. He was like, I said, yo, yeah, all right, whatever. I don't know. Because I'm just saying what's up.
Mm-hmm.
And meant to remind everyone exactly who holds the real power.
Jay-Z and them was putting it together. Mm-hmm. So I think they still harbor some energy towards me.
Did you and Jay-Z ever have a conversation, or y'all in different offices as far as like?
We don't need to talk about nothing.
The tension hit a whole new level after Rick Ross publicly announced a collaboration with Big Meech for what he called a welcome home concert. On the surface, it sounded like a celebration, but underneath that announcement was gasoline. And everyone who's been paying attention knew exactly what was about to happen.
You know, I remember one time walking in the studio and it was like a small gap and bleak beans. Everybody was in there and I was like, man, I'm telling you, man, y'all got a chance right now. Just flood it, put out a lot of music because 50 Cent is coming. And, you know, 4 months later, in the club hit and it was over. And it was just like, okay, now everybody got to sit on the sidelines and wait this tight to wave out.
You can find me in the club, bottle full of bub. Mama, I got what you need if you need to feel a bub.
That single move reopened a long simmering feud and kicked off a chain reaction nobody could ignore. Almost immediately, 50 Cent went on the offensive. He didn't hedge, he didn't soften his words. He fired off posts calling Big Meech a rat, and then dropped the real bombshell by declaring that the Black Mafia Family series would not be renewed for another season. That wasn't just trash talk. That was a message. A reminder that while Ross may be loud, 50 controls the board. Rick Ross, of course, didn't stay quiet.
Nigga just so like 4 milli, got something to live for. Don't want a nigga putting 4 through that Bentley coupe.
He clapped back with heavy shade, brushing off 50's comments like they didn't matter, acting unbothered, and even claiming that he already had a brand new BMF movie lined up. To Ross, it was supposed to sound like a flex, like he had options, like 50 was irrelevant to the future of the brand. But that's when 50 flipped the entire narrative in one move. He reminded Ross, very publicly and very clearly.
Where was Jay-Z from 2003 to 2006? I sold 23 million records between 2003 and 2006.
Right.
He stopped making music, said, I'm going to go be the president of a record company. I quit. We'll get back to what me and you got later, Fifth. I quit, time out. I'll come back to play later. Then he signed the Beyonce contract. I was like, yeah, men lie, women lie, numbers don't.
Men lie, women lie, numbers don't.
What's that joint? That shit is a tough one to beat.
That no BMF movie can happen without his approval because he owns the rights. Not partially, not loosely. He owns them. That wasn't noise. That was leverage. And everyone watching understood exactly what that meant. Once that reminder hit the timeline, fans stopped laughing and started asking real questions. Is there actually a BMF movie coming, or was Ross just talking? Was this another case of Rick Ross announcing something he doesn't fully control? And more importantly, has Ross been trying to move behind 50's back this whole time, hoping to squeeze something out before the door slammed shut? Because from the outside looking in, it started to feel less like confidence and more like desperation. As 50 himself put it, when things get bad, you mention me and it gets covered. According to him, Ross keeps his name in his mouth because that's what brings attention when his own moves aren't landing. And that back and forth didn't come out of nowhere.
We got, hey.
You can get down, nigga. You can get down. It's all good.
This a real special moment, ain't it?
Come on, you can get some, nigga.
This
a real special moment,
Let's go.
These two have been sworn enemies for years, trading shots whenever the opportunity presents itself, whether it's music, business, or social media. But things really exploded this time because Rick Ross and Big Meech chose February to announce a concert meant to celebrate Meech's release after years behind bars, a move that was guaranteed to stir controversy. Big Meech, born Demetrius Flannery, wasn't just some street name. He was the leader of the Black Mafia family, a massive drug trafficking and money laundering organization that rose out of Southwest Detroit in the late 1980s. Alongside his brother Terry, Southwest T. Flannery, Meech built an empire that ran on strict loyalty, discipline, and a tight internal code. For a long time, BMF felt untouchable. Their reach stretched across multiple states, their money flowed through legitimate businesses, and their reputation was built on silence and structure. But that image didn't last forever. Cracks started forming in the early 2000s, and in 2003, everything changed when the DEA and FBI teamed up for Operation Motor City Mafia. That investigation pulled the curtain back on years of illegal activity. Wiretaps were set up, surveillance intensified, and law enforcement began moving in from every angle. The result was a wave of arrests, including several high-ranking members of the organization.
And you run up on stage when he's doing a little too much.
Yeah. He ain't like that. Yeah, he ain't like that.
You didn't like it? Tell me
Yeah.
again what he says to you when you ran on stage.
You had to come up here, huh?
That's so great.
Because he was going to have a moment. So he had to share.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, nobody wants to give me credit for the positive things I do for hip hop.
Because your intention wasn't
the best. It wasn't the best, but good things result.
Some were charged and locked up immediately. Others made different choices. Cooperation became a word nobody wanted to say out loud, but it was happening. By 2005, BMF was leaking from every direction. Safe houses were raided, assets were seized, millions in cash, weapons, and substances were taken off the streets. The myth of total loyalty was gone. Eventually, Big Meech and his brother were arrested and charged with serious federal offenses tied to large-scale distribution and financial crimes. In 2008, Meech was sentenced to 30 years in federal prison, a sentence that many believed he would serve almost in full. That's where things start looking shaky. In October of last year, news quietly broke that Big Meech would be released earlier than expected. After completing time in a rehabilitation program, his release was scheduled for August. That announcement raised eyebrows immediately. Even accounting for time served and good behavior, many people believed he still had years left. The math wasn't mathing, and once the numbers didn't add up, the rumors started spreading fast. Those rumors didn't come from nowhere. Long before 50 Cent said anything publicly, there were already whispers in the streets and online suggesting that Meech may have cooperated to shorten his sentence. One name kept popping up in those conversations: Tammy Cowan. She was reportedly close to Meech and allegedly helped negotiate aspects of his early release. But the bigger claim went even further, that Meech provided information that helped authorities take down another figure, his longtime associate Dion Gatling, also known as Cuffy. Whether those claims are true or exaggerated, the perception alone is enough to set things on fire.
Look at Jay-Z's documentary. He points that moment out as a point that he beat me. Right? How did he beat me if it was Kanye's? Because he was the president of Def Jam, and they did everything they could to make that work at that point. So it was like, we have to make the numbers.
Oh. You think it was fuzzy math?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And that's exactly what 50 Cent tapped into. By calling Meech a rat and cutting off the BMF series at the knees, 50 wasn't just attacking a person, he was attacking the mythology. The idea that BMF was built on silence, loyalty, and honor. And by extension, he was putting Rick Ross in a position where every move now looks questionable. Because once doubt enters the conversation, control starts slipping. At this point, this isn't just about insults or ego. It's about ownership, legacy, and who really gets to tell the story. Rick Ross may be trying to attach himself to a moment, but 50 Cent is reminding everyone that moments don't matter if you don't own the narrative. And as this situation keeps unfolding, one thing is clear: this feud isn't cooling down anytime soon. If anything, it's just getting started. According to Tamara Gatling, Cuffy's daughter, the truth didn't come out all at once. It unraveled slowly, painfully, and through paperwork the family never expected to read. She claims that after her father's arrest, The family later uncovered information buried inside law enforcement discovery files that identified a confidential source tied directly to Tammy Cowan. That revelation hit like a punch to the chest. In an emotional recording that later circulated online, Tamara explained that Big Meech and her father weren't just associates or casual business partners. They had been friends for over 30 years, close enough that she grew up seeing Meech as extended family, someone who was always around, someone trusted, someone never suspected. She described the situation as devastating, saying her father wasn't just arrested, he was set up by someone he trusted deeply. In her voice, you can hear disbelief mixed with betrayal, the kind that doesn't fade with time. According to her, this wasn't a random takedown or a routine investigation. This felt personal, strategic, and calculated. Tamara went on to explain that around 2011, Big Meech reached out to her father about developing a BMF movie. This was long before the Star's television series ever existed. At the time, the idea of telling the BMF story through film felt like a natural next step, a way to control the narrative, preserve the legacy, and maybe even turn something dark into something profitable. Tammy Cowan, who held Meech's life rights and power of attorney at the time, was directly involved in those conversations. She wasn't on the sidelines. She was central. Then, everything changed. When her father was arrested years later, discovery files allegedly revealed Tammy's role as a confidential informant. That information shattered the family. At first, they didn't want to believe it. According to Tamara, they were in denial. They questioned the documents. They searched for alternate explanations. They hoped it was a misunderstanding or a mislabeling. So they did what made sense. They reached out to Meech himself. But the response they got didn't bring comfort. Meech allegedly dismissed the situation as a confirmation issue and suggested they reach out to Tammy directly to clear things up. That suggestion alone raised alarms. Tamara explained that her father flat out refused. His reasoning was simple and final. He would not speak to an informant. Not privately, not publicly, not ever. From that moment on, the trust was gone. Cuffy himself later spoke about this in a leaked jail call that added even more weight to the claims. In that call, he explained how he believed he was lined up through the BMF movie project itself. According to him, he had paid for an original BMF movie script years before the television series was even a thought. Money was spent, plans were made, meetings happened. Tammy Cowan, he said, was deeply involved during that period, operating not just as a facilitator but as a gatekeeper. What made the situation even darker was his claim that the original investigation wasn't even focused on him. According to Cuffy, law enforcement had a different target entirely. But somewhere along the way, things shifted. The spotlight moved. The pressure redirected. And suddenly, he was the one in the crosshairs. To him, it didn't feel coincidental. It felt engineered. As these allegations started circulating, outside voices jumped in and added fuel to an already raging fire. WAC 100 publicly questioned why Big Meech would continue doing business with Tammy Cowan after allegedly knowing her status as an informant. He didn't mince words, calling it dishonorable and suggesting that any man with principles would have cut ties immediately. Others pushed back, arguing that the situation wasn't that simple. Tammy controlled the life rights. Walking away from her would have meant losing everything. The story, the leverage, the future projects. Either way, the situation painted a deeply complicated picture where business, loyalty, survival, and betrayal were all tangled together. And all of this matters because it explains why 50 Cent took Rick Ross's collaboration with Big Meech so personally. This wasn't just industry beef or competitive posturing. 50's G-Unit Films is a producing partner on the BMF television series. Tammy Cowan owns the life rights and serves as a co-producer. In 50's eyes, Meech and Tammy are business partners tied directly to his operation. So seeing Meech publicly link up with Rick Ross, someone 50 already distrusts, didn't feel like coincidence. It felt like a line being crossed. That feeling cuts even deeper because 50 Cent has never trusted Rick Ross, period. One of the core reasons behind their long-running beef is 50's belief that Ross isn't authentic. Over the years, 50 has repeatedly pointed to Ross's past as a correctional officer, arguing that it contradicts the image he built in his music. He hasn't whispered that opinion, he's shouted it. In a 2015 interview, 50 openly questioned Ross's credibility and dismissed his street persona entirely. And it didn't stop there. 50 has gone after Ross's music too, calling it irrelevant, dated, and lacking impact. During multiple radio appearances, he showed zero respect for Ross's catalog or career, treating him like a non-factor rather than a rival. To 50, Ross wasn't just fake, he was disposable. But the tension hasn't been one-sided. Rick Ross has taken plenty of shots at 50 over the years, both in music and interviews. In a 2020 appearance on I Am Athlete, Ross mocked 50's musical relevance, laughed off his criticism, and leaned into sarcasm to downplay everything. The message was clear. Ross didn't see 50 as a threat anymore. That illusion shattered the moment 50 called Big Meech a rat. Ross fired back on social media, telling 50 to stop taking things personally and focus on making money. He promoted his upcoming events, bragged about his success, claimed dominance in the industry, and then doubled down by announcing plans for a big-budget BMF film. He even name-dropped high-profile directors like F. Gary Gray and Antoine Fuqua, making it sound like everything was already locked in. But 50 didn't argue back with opinions. He didn't trade insults. He responded with receipts. He shared a TMZ article confirming that he is the sole owner of the BMF television and film rights. According to sources cited in the report, nothing has changed. No deals were altered, no permissions were granted. Any BMF film, now or in the future, would require 50 Cent's approval. TMZ didn't sugarcoat it either. They suggested that Rick Ross might want to rethink his plans because getting permission from his biggest rival wouldn't be easy. And that's the moment everything became clear. This wasn't just beef anymore. This was control versus clout, ownership versus noise. And in that fight, 50 Cent wasn't arguing. He was closing doors. 50 followed up with a caption that made it crystal clear he wasn't backing down, wasn't negotiating, and definitely wasn't intimidated. He didn't rant. He didn't over-explain. He basically told Ross he could talk as much as he wanted, announce whatever he felt like announcing, and parade whatever fantasy plans he had in his head. None of it changed reality. The message was simple and cold. The chessboard belongs to him. Always has. Always will. That caption wasn't just a flex, it was a shutdown. It was 50 reminding everyone that while Ross plays checkers in public, making noise for attention, 50 is the one quietly controlling the pieces behind the scenes. You could feel the confidence in it, not loud confidence, ownership confidence, the kind that doesn't need validation because the paperwork already speaks for itself. And once that post went up, the internet did what it always does. It split straight down the middle. Fans immediately picked sides. Some people felt Rick Ross crossed a line by linking up with Big Meech at all, especially knowing the complicated history, the unresolved accusations, and the fact that 50 is directly tied to the BMF brand in a real legal way. To them, Ross looked like he was poking the bear on purpose, hoping controversy would carry him somewhere bigger. Others argued the opposite. They said 50 was dragging it, that he was holding on to old beef, refusing to let anything go and using his power to block moves just because of personal grudges. In their eyes, Ross was just doing business, capitalizing on a moment, and 50 was overreacting by turning it into a public spectacle. But that surface-level debate misses the real point. This isn't just about pride. It's not just about Instagram captions, interviews, or who gets the last word online. This is about money, serious money, long-term money. It's about control over a story that generates millions, shapes reputations, and defines legacies. It's also about history, the kind that never really stays buried no matter how much time passes. Old accusations, old betrayals, old alliances that cracked under pressure and never healed properly. Every time the BMF name comes up, all of that comes back with it. And for 50, that history isn't abstract. He's tied to it legally, financially, and personally. That's why this situation feels heavier than normal rap beef, because at the core of it, this isn't about who's tougher or who's louder. It's about who actually owns something versus who's just attached to it. Who can move pieces on the board and who can only react when those pieces shift. So whether fans think Ross overstepped or 50 is being petty almost doesn't matter. What matters is that lines have been drawn very clearly. And as this keeps unfolding, one thing becomes impossible to ignore. This war isn't being fought for clout, it's being fought for control, and neither side is pretending otherwise anymore.